Mr. Gardiner.
Thank you. My name is Michael J. Gardiner. I'm an attorney of 20 years experience. Uh, I began with a law firm in downtown Providence, Gunning, LaFazia, and Nyes. It was a great teaching firm. Some of the alumni from that firm are uh, Governor Lincoln Almond, Judge Nettie Vogel, Judge LaFazia. Um, it was an amazing place to work and to gain the. It was a real teaching firm, and so I was in court constantly for about the first 2 years. And in my first 2 years, and it's important because the House of Representatives is a 2-year term. In my first 2 years, I appeared before the Rhode Island Supreme Court twice and made law as a young attorney. Uh, so you have to be able to hit the ground running and make a difference. Now, the problem we have right now is our economy, our society is like an overloaded boat about 1 inch above the water. And we are in a fragile, delicate state. We have spent too much money. And yet, we cannot rip the rug out from public assistance. We cannot rip the rug out from under the cities because we will have a problem. So I like libertarian ideas, for example. I like them. But we cannot turn this boat too fast or we will capsize. So I have developed some common sense, bipartisan ideas to tackle the real issues that are coming in the next election. What is at stake in the next election? The health care reform coming out of Washington, we know, is an abomination. The idea of the Speaker of the House of the United States Congress saying that she thinks people should go to jail for not buying health care should shock all Americans. It is clearly not a free country if we are putting young people coming out of college, young people who want to start the next Apple computer out of their garage or the next Microsoft. We're going to put those people in jail. Our best and brightest are entrepreneurs who come out and they don't want to buy health insurance. They're young, they're healthy, they're strong. They have an idea and they're ready to get in their garage and do it. But Nancy Pelosi wants to put them in jail because they didn't buy health insurance. But what else is at stake? Right now, capital gain taxes are low. But the economy has been so weak that investors have been discouraged from moving forward and they find out they can't get loans. Nevertheless, if we can get we have any hope to get the economy going, we have to keep the capital gain taxes low. Barack Obama has said that he wants in 2011 they're going to let the Bush era tax cuts expire. And that means that you're going to go from like 20% and 15%, 20% on capital gains to about 39.6%. Now we have cities in Rhode Island, all over Rhode Island, Westerly, all over this West Warwick, all over the parts of Providence, parts of Cranston, and even parts in Warwick that need renewal. These areas are in trouble. People will not go into the west end of Providence, which is part of the 2nd Congressional District. And they are not going to spend their money to renovate a gutted house with all the copper out, needs new walls, needs new insulation, has rats, has bugs, is a mess. They are not going to put their money in to renovate their housing and make it habitable and improve the tax base to say Providence or West Warwick or Westerly. If the government is going to make itself the 39.6% partner in the profits. Why would you have a partner and give them 39.6% of the profits when they don't share the risk? We must keep capital gains taxes low. That is at stake in the next election. And Mark is right. You only play for 2 teams at the federal level. There's 2 teams in Congress, Republican and Democrats. And I'm recommending to Rhode Island, please elect some Republicans. You had no voice in the health care debate. No voice whatsoever. Not one Rhode Island congressman had a single reservation or objection or qualification at all on the proposed health reform package. Not one. You are totally disenfranchised in this state on health reform. Now, health reform is going to come at us some way in the next few weeks. We don't know what the conference bill is going to be out of Congress, but something's coming. but we have to lay the groundwork for better health reform in the future. We can't just ignore health reform. Health reform requires uniform state laws so you can have choice and competition across state lines. Republicans are right on asking for it. And President Obama says choice is good too. But the fact is, without uniform laws in the states, we cannot do it. The Uniform Commercial Code makes 5/6 of the nation's economy uniform in laws. We can extend that to the 1/6 of the United States economy, and so we can have uniform laws in healthcare and insurance. Thank you. You know, the idea that the federal government has to fund our education or run our education. My two great aunts, Kathleen and Mary McKay, taught in the Providence school system all their lives. They were dedicated teachers. They became teachers at a time when you didn't even get married if you became a teacher. Now, they changed that a year after they became teachers, and they still did not get married. They were so dedicated as professionals. And at the time, I don't think the federal government was paying for education, and yet I remember so many doctors and lawyers and dentists and successful people coming up to my aunts during their lifetimes when I'd be at a restaurant with them and saying, "Thank you, Mary McKay, thank you, Kathleen McKay." And somehow the federal government was not involved in that. I have no idea why we need a federal Department of Education. Why does the federal government have to help us run our local schools? So let's cut out the federal Department of Education. Eliminate it. Just eliminate it. I mean, if there's one thing in government you can eliminate, it's the Federal Department of Education. Now, the healthcare reform is a they present it as being offering choice. And nobody's going to lose their coverage. Everybody should know that that's false. I read the letter from Congressional Budget Office back to Charles Rangel, chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, written back in July, and it's easily seen that over about 4 years they are going to wipe out private insurance companies, and they are going to tax anything that remains. They are focusing on turning this into a single-payer system, and that means that your health care will forever be a political football dependent on how much money the government has to spend on care. And that means your care is going to degrade. About 10 years from now, if that thing goes through, about 10 years from now, every hospital will be dingy and dirty using 6-7-year-old equipment. I guarantee it. Now look, but Republicans have talked about, choice and competition, this and that. But the missing element, the missing idea is uniform state laws in healthcare. It's not a foreign concept. The Uniform Commercial Code makes banking, sales of goods, secure transactions uniform throughout the entire country, and it's tremendously efficient. Tremendous efficiency. You don't even think about it. It's invisible. Extend the Uniform Commercial Code to healthcare. Then we won't just have huge states like California with only 6 insurance companies, four in Virginia, a couple in Rhode Island.